Dr. Logan, and to my right is Adam Meredith. To my left is Brandon Grimm. And Brandon, what did we just watch?
We just watched the first episode of the new Picard
that's
series.
right. I forgot. No, I didn't. I have been so kind of excited to see this. Like I was, we all did a video on the first trailer for this. And that made me excited in a way I didn't think I could be.
Right.
And then hearing about all the turmoil behind the scenes, I've been really trepidatious about it, really kind of worried about it.
Right.
And now we've seen the pilot. And we're just going to go round robin real quick and find out what everybody thought of it. We're not going to do spoilers on this. We will do a spoiler cast when we get to the end of the season. So we're basically just going to tell you guys if we think you should take a look at this or not if you've not watched it yet. Just dropped today. And let's start with Adam. Adam, what are your overall thoughts?
I mean, I felt definitely that was solid. I feel intrigued and excited. I wanted to see more in a way that I did not feel at all ever for Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely interested in stuff. Yeah, there were some weird contrivances and stuff in some parts, but I mean overall it was definitely interesting. And like you said, they seem to know their TNG pretty well.
They know their TNG pretty well. There's one big question I've got that I really hope they answer and talk about, because there's a, and I don't want to give things away, but there's a character that's brought in that should be connected to another character that's never mentioned. And I will just say, hopefully this doesn't give too much away, but it's exactly the same thing as we got B4 and Nemesis, but we never mentioned Lore. It's weird. We have that kind of thing here, but also in the same thing where they know about some stuff that I never thought they would have mentioned, and a little bit of spoilers of things that just we know from behind the scenes and from trailers that we've talked about before in videos. Like we know Hugh is coming and stuff like that. Like they know their TNG. And I should also say that the initial board connections are not at all what I thought they would be.
No.
I mean, we don't know a lot yet.
Right.
But real quick, what did you think of it tonally?
I liked the tone. It felt more. It felt a little, even though it was dark, it felt lighter than Discovery and stuff. It felt warmer, and I really liked Patrick Stewart's portrayal of Picard. He didn't feel like
action movie Picard
or angry, sad, broken Picard necessarily. I mean, he was like sad, but he
hasn't fully lost his optimism.
He hasn't lost it. No,
and it doesn't feel like a pessimistic show to me. Like it's Starfleet and the Federation are going that way, but it's a show that's about that.
Right.
Discovery is a cynical show that doesn't know that it's cynical, and this does not have that at all up front anyway, at the beginning. What were your takeaways, Brandon?
Well, since I have not seen Discovery yet, I can't make those comparisons yet, but I look forward to at least knowing what you're talking about in the somewhat near future.
Which is interesting. I wonder if not knowing Discovery would make you like this better or worse. Go ahead.
So, I would like to address Picard himself for a moment. I find it interesting, this new take on Picard in the post-Xavier world that Patrick Stewart acts in.
Because how do you not compare it to his performance in Logan?
Oh, because you really have to. And
especially with all the story comparisons to Logan also.
And absolutely. You really have to. And I found this kind like... the last 2 days, I didn't tell you about this, Kat, but the last 2 days I've been watching clips of early Star Trek The Next Generation because I wanted to see how this Picard matched up from 87, 88 Picard.
Yeah.
And I don't think Patrick Stewart could do that Picard again. But what I want him to, this is very interesting territory.
He would want.
I don't think he would want to either.
He was in the first couple of seasons.
Nobody found themselves in that first season. There's not one character that, except for maybe Geordi in a way, right?
Let me explain a little bit more what I mean. Just in the stoicism, even later Picard, just in the stoicism that he had and the kind of rigid conformity that he had. This is a very interesting, Picard 20 years removed from Starfleet. I can buy that at this point. And I think that his character had a good, introspective tendencies, but he kind of realized that he's been sitting down too long and he needs to do something. I thought that worked all right. And I enjoyed this, and I am intrigued to see more. Like you said, though, the board connection isn't exactly what I thought it would be up front, but we do know we're going to get Hugh. So that's a little fascinating. How does Hugh tie into this other board connection? And 7 of 9. And so I, too, am looking forward to, seeing what they're going to do with this.
I'm hoping that everything doesn't come together into nice and neat of a really contrived bow as far as the antagonists are concerned, because when we found out initially that this was going to be about the aftermath of the destruction of Romulus and that we were going that way, that like the destruction of Romulus happens in 09, and Picard in this, we're told, helps get a lot of Romulans off the planet and off of even other planets in the Romulan Empire. That's dealt with, by the way, in the Picard Countdown comic, which weirdly there are 2 issues out of, but 3 comes out on like the 29th, and it's called Countdown, but the first episode's out already, so that's weird. That it's not done yet. Okay, I don't know if it's late. I don't know what happened with that, but it's weird. But anyway,
a little bit.
So the big concern I had when we found that out was, I hope that there's not this like really nice easy link, maybe they'll win me over on it if there is, between somehow the destruction of Romulus and the Borg, and without giving anything away, it sure feels like that's what we're doing. There's going to be some kind of a tie between those 2 things, and I don't know about that, but we'll see how that ends up going. And we've got again, I don't think this is giving too much away, because Brent Spiner almost came out and said this, but Data's here, but he's not here.
Right.
How did you guys feel about the way the dream sequences are handled?
Actually, I thought it was kind of... It reminded me... the fact that it was a dream sequence reminded me of Phantasms, of course. But
yeah, sure.
I thought that it kind of played a little bit like Phantasms did, and I thought that kind of made more of a direct link between this and the Next Generation for me.
There's also a callback in the this was in the trailers, I think we can say, the painting.
Yeah.
That...
Oh, and the fact that Data paints,
And Picard tried to paint in the beginning of Matter of Perspective, and he wasn't any good at it, and Data actually just said, it's not... in his own way, this isn't good.
And that doesn't feel to me like a thing everybody knows about, and it's like a super obvious Data thing to go to.
Right.
Like these guys are going to stuff that was relevant and popped up a lot that I might not have immediately thought you'd go to. Like the fact that Data paints, like, yeah, it's a big deal in a few things, but your average, even like casual TNG fan might not even remember that was a thing.
Right.
So there's one thing specific to Data and B4 and all that I wanted to mention is I actually liked how they wrapped up the fact that B4 is not around anymore.
It's probably the smartest way to go with it.
I thought I didn't think they could come up with something that would have worked for me, and that totally worked for me. It made sense too.
I'm glad you brought that. I like the way this is a sequel to the TNG movies that tries to be story-wise and tonally closer to the story sophistication of the good TV shows.
Right.
Like, this is not more TNG, but you were talking earlier about the ways in which Picard, like, through the series has developed and where he's at now after these years we didn't see him. We are ignoring the character that he was in the movies, but those events happened, right? Because this feels like an extension of that guy, and of course that's what you would expect when Picard is an executive producer. Or when Patrick Stewart is an executive producer on the show, right? Where, like, he's not gonna want to write action movie Picard.
Right.
He flat out said, he's like, there's stuff that old Picard could do that Patrick Stewart, am not able to do physically anymore. So they even kind of had a moment of that in the show.
But he also doesn't, but he doesn't have that cynicism he had in the movies that, again, they didn't seem to realize that he had. Like, that's the thing I keep going back to, is my favorite thing about this so far, and hopefully it retains it, is that this show is about Starfleet losing its way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it knows that Starfleet's losing its way, and that's bad. And Picard is the personification.
He is the man to bring Starfleet back.
Yeah, and hopefully that actually
Makes
kind of
Starfleet
happens.
great again.
The thing is, having multiple... Well, and see, I was, honestly, when you say that, like, I was worried about too much, like, really clear, obvious references to current political stuff.
Like heavy-handed,
There are allegories, but guys, they're allegories.
Right.
It's how Star Trek handles this kind of stuff, and handles it well. There's a scene where he gets really heated with a member of the press that had the potential to go too far and nearly did. Like, it's pushing it, but ultimately I thought it was okay. Like, I think there's a little bit of Discovery-esque sappy writing in this, but it never gets quite to that place. And
There were
I was talking to Sarah about this.
Took me right out,
Sarah wasn't able to be on this video, but I talked to her about this just before we did this, and she said, if it's, and I don't know if I agree with this, but she said, if it's not Patrick Stewart, if you put somebody else in that role, I think the seams start to show in that script. She was like, I don't know if the show was as good as just his acting.
Right. But I mean, this is specific about that old TNG too in some places.
Yeah,
elevated the material and stuff.
But it ain't Discovery, and it's not the TNG movies. Like so far, I think, and I hate for that to be our bar. Right. But like I don't know. I think the thing's got real potential.
Right. I think it has potential.
It's a solid pilot.
But I'm gonna say that also it didn't truly at the moment feel like Star Trek to me yet. I think it's going to, but aside from these are characters that some characters that I've known before, and look forward to seeing others that I've known before. It felt very. It felt kind of drama-driven in a way that I didn't get from. Again, can't compare it to.
Well, I was going to say you would already be acclimated to that kind of tone if you've been watching stuff.
And I understand that, and that's why I think it's an interesting perspective to not have.
It works here in a way it doesn't in Discovery because that show doesn't feel to me like it could possibly be canon with everything else, especially particularly right around where it's supposed to be, like 10 years before the Cage. Mm-hmm. This feels like a sad, unfortunate extension. A couple of decades after Nemesis. Where it's like, so Nemesis, the crazy Shinzon thing happens, and then the beginning of 09 happens, and all, the motivations for this may not be good ones. It may partly be doing that because it thinks that darker, edgier Star Trek sells, but it doesn't feel gimmicky in the way Discovery does about that.
Yeah.
But it also feels like, just story-wise, a natural direction to go after those things happen, because those were, like, really dark, horribly bleak things, and it's like, maybe Starfleet can't recover from these things. And now we're seeing the aftermath of, it really didn't, And,
it just went in a completely different direction.
I don't know yet how we're gonna feel, of course, about the what they're doing with androids and stuff.
Right.
And I don't want to give away anything about what they're doing with that.
That's an interesting direction that they took the first episode in already.
I didn't expect that. I think the first episode gets quite a bit done.
Me too. It definitely covered more ground than I thought it was going to cover. I thought it was cool that we got to see the Daystrom Institute.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever been there.
No, I don't think so either. And then it was really cool.
We also saw futuristic Boston.
And I liked
the Federation
the way
Archives.
the future...
And it looked awesome.
The way it looked, they made it still looked... I mean, it looked, not cheesy or anything, but it looked not like how it's been portrayed in the most recent series. No, like in 09 and Into Darkness, where it looks like freaking Blade Runner or something like that.
Boston had a little bit of
it, but I mean, it still seems more.
Starfleet did. Starfleet looks awesome.
It seems less built up. That's what my point is. I never got that perspective or that from Star Trek that Earth became like
overcrowded, overpopulated,
or whatever from Star Wars.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying like this does still look too much like the Abrams movies. The thing is, moving forward, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we are right now, and I get it.
Yeah, like as long as you're moving forward, and it doesn't feel like. I don't know. I never have a point when I'm watching this where I feel like it's in some other universe, but just pretending to be the future of TNG. See, this does feel like potentially the future of TNG.
That's one of the reasons why I stayed away from Discovery for so long, is because I wanted more Star Trek, but I didn't want something, hemmed into where it didn't belong in the fabric of this universe.
And this is just what they should have done in the first place.
They could have done the aesthetic of Discovery, sure, but give me another 100 years in the future beyond a Voyager.
Like all I've wanted this whole time is move forward so that you don't have to worry about retroactively gumming up stuff. Although there is a thing with Data that is maybe in a microcosm doing that, retroactively gumming up stuff. Yeah. But we'll see. I don't know. I might ultimately be fine with it. But like. I just wanted to move forward so that you could do any aesthetic you wanted to. Mm-hmm. And it's only a couple of decades after Nemesis, but I still feel like in that amount of time it could look like this.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I mean,
and I wanted it to be hopeful. And this is bleak, but still hopeful. Again, in the way Logan was. And I'm just hoping that it maintains that.
I didn't like how Discovery looked, but I could have gone with it if it had been better. The show had been interesting.
Well, of course.
Better, I would have been like, okay,
well, certainly.
You just kind of go with it. You just got to go with it. But
absolutely.
It was just. I don't know. That's not what we're talking about on this video.
so just wrapping up, anything else that we didn't bring up that you guys want to make sure gets mentioned?
I like so far what we've seen of these minor characters, the new ones, like Alison Pill's character and stuff, a little more than I like the supporting cast of Discovery.
Same here.
They don't irritate me. Like, she didn't have like she was kind of, nerdy and stuff, but she didn't have like the over-the-topness of like Tilly does sometimes and stuff,
Yeah, well, she just feels like a cartoon character sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, everybody was pretty reined in.
Yeah.
Nobody was just crazy. I don't know who that actress is. Are we talking about the girl at the Daystrom?
The Daystrom.
I liked her a lot.
I liked her a lot.
There's some really nice witty banter with her and Picard.
Right.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be a regular.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Alison Pill's the main credit.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I also
she kind of tied into she knows a lot about what's going on in the plot of this, so she's gonna. I think Picard's gonna.
I'm wondering if we
on her for this.
Well, I don't want to give him away, so I won't ask that question. But anyway, I thought that was actually maybe the best written scene.
Yeah.
In the episode. Yeah. I think effects wise, Discovery has this too. It's gorgeous.
Right.
It looks really good. There's a lot of production value on the screen. So yeah, I'm gonna go green sign flip.
I'm green sign flipping as well. Picard did
flip.
say a couple of things. There was a bit of foreshadowing, I felt like, in this, and I'm not going to give anything away, but I'll talk to you about it later. But I felt like if you keep a keen ear on this, you can hear some things that maybe have some double meanings as well, for reveals later in the show.
Probably, and just stuff that we wouldn't know until we see more of it.
Certainly, but I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah. Again, with all the turmoil behind the scenes, there's every reason to be concerned that this goes off the rails somewhere. Like, Eric and I were talking about this yesterday, and he said, I bet that pilot is great, even if it ends up sucking. And I said, maybe so. I guess we'll see. So, like, I think it's a solid pilot. I hope the show doesn't lose itself someplace. Right. But yeah, I'm certainly excited about TNG guest stars and stuff. I don't want to say that the show is good because it's doing that stuff.
Right.
But I do appreciate the fact that it has a good sense of continuity.
Right.
And some people give me crap when I talk about that. Like, the only thing I care about with Star Trek is continuity. But one of the reasons I loved Star Trek so much was because of its tight world building. And that, it makes mistakes, and by Enterprise, it really makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But I feel like, but one of the reasons I've always again liked Star Trek is because it feels like a living and breathing world, and we've just lost that. Like, it's felt splintered and busted to me for a long time. Where even if Discovery had been great, and obviously I would prefer that to what we got, it would still be difficult for me to fit it in to Star Trek as Star Trek. It would be like I would enjoy it as its own thing. Sure. And so it's just now I feel like we have actual Star Trek again.
Yes.
In a way that I haven't felt that way with Discovery, and that's a big deal to me. I haven't had actual Star Trek since Fourth Season Enterprise, and even that is debatable. Beyond felt like real Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes, Beyond did.
But it's its own continuity.
Exactly.
I never thought we'd get back to this continuity. And of course, Discovery is technically canonical. But I'm just saying that in my mind, it's difficult to appreciate it that
Of course.
way. And this feels like real Star Trek again. And so I hope even if it ends up not being as good as I think this pilot is, it at least doesn't lose that it kind of feels like real Star Trek. So I don't know. Maybe my standards are in the floor, but I am excited to watch the next one, and I'm not going to have to put that on going, I'm required to watch this. So
I don't think it's so much that your standards are on the
good.
floor, it's that what you've got has set the bar low enough that anything beyond it might be...
Exactly, and it puts your standards in the floor.
Well, yeah, okay, sure.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Anything else?
I think that's everything I can think of.
All right,
I'm
cool.
good without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will do spoilers later on.
Sure.
When we get to the end of the season. I don't know how long this is. Is it 10? Is it 12?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So
I'd be asking you.
just a few weeks down the road, we'll probably get to sit down and talk again, and we'll do a longer one. But thanks so much for watching, guys. If you saw the pilot, leave your comments. Let us know what you thought of it. In the meantime, I was Captain Logan. That was Brandon Graham.
See ya.
And that was Adam Meredith. And we'll see you next time.